Hello, everyone. It's Ari Honeyford with the Awkwardly Zen podcast, and I am super excited today because I have one of our out of town, and I say that because Awkwardly Zen is all over the world, but a lot of our practitioners are in the Denver area. But Jill is one of the practitioners that I have never met in person, but we are about to change that. And so, Jill Amy Sager, I am so excited that you're here with us today. Would you please tell everyone what it is that you do? What's your modality and what brings you into the metaphysical world?
Sure. And thanks, Ari, for having me. This is so exciting uh to be with Awkwardly Zen. I just love the idea so much. I know you asked me to talk about me, but I am such a fan of Awkwardly Zen. The fact that you are doing this, that people are responding. We've needed a place where people feel comfortable talking about spirituality in their own way. And I'm so grateful to you. So thank you for having me today.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's all a group effort for sure.
Yeah, I love the community.
So
Let's see.
now let's talk about you. Uh,
Okay, it's
so
all about
tell us everything.
now it's all about me, me, me. Okay.
Yeah.
So I started reading tarot cards in the 70s and did that for myself like everybody does when we're studying and beginning to learn. And then because of my sister, I started reading for her and her friends. Anyway, word of mouth grew. Here we are all these years later. I now have gray hair and I'm reading for people literally all over the world, which is exciting. I should back up and say that I never went into this expecting to be a professional tarot reader. That was not my goal, but this
Yeah.
is what happens. And so I have embraced it. It wasn't always easy, but I have embraced it. And when I was in my 30s, I spontaneously, unexpectedly started to what we would call channel information, downloading information from the universe, which is probably a much longer story about how that happened. But very succinctly, I can say that I really believe it happened because I was opening up that creative, intuitive side of my brain, not just because of tarot cards and how it's a pictorial, these are images, right, that start to open up your own intuition, but also, which I think, sidebar, is a very good first place to start if you want to learn how to channel, is to open your own intuition. But secondly, I was a professional musician for years playing hand percussion. And, that was a also very equal right left. You can see I'm doing it, an equal right left thing. And so I accepted it. And maybe there's something in my DNA that just accepted that this was happening. And that's where we're at today. So not only
I
do I read cards and use them, I love the cards.
Yes.
I
But tell us
do.
about your new exciting thing because I'm so excited to talk to you about it because I remember over a year ago having this conversation that this was coming.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning it. So the byproduct of all of this work is that I have a book coming out. It's going to be distributed by Simon and Schuster. I can actually show you the cover because I have one advanced reader copy. Here it is. I'm so proud of it. And it's called Guidance from the Universe: Hopeful Messages for Everyday Challenges.
Mm.
I had downloaded many, many messages I got from the universe, and they are on a variety of topics: money, time, worry, sorrow, loss, grief, all of this. And, I was just transcribing, I was typing it, I had done longhand and then typed it onto my computer. And at some point, the universe said to me, and I'm paraphrasing, you know how it is, but they said, do you think we just sent this for you? And I was like, yes. It was like, no. And so a book has come out of it. So here we are. It's 30 messages from the universe on these topics I mentioned. And then I thought to put my personal stories in there to kind of explain how I used the information. And then every chapter ends with reflections, a couple of questions, perhaps. I'm hoping that the reader will jumpstart the reader's own musings on these topics and maybe help someone else kind of develop their own sense of how they can feel, go get through these situations, right? I mean, my motto is always like, I'm here to help you to help yourself, right? That's
Yeah.
really what it's all about.
I love that so much, and I love the title because one of the things that struck me when I first met you, was that I call it, like your spirit team or your guides or the universe, and you call it guidance.
Yeah, many years ago, I was like, "What should I call you?" And basically, at that time, the message was, names are just a vibration, just whatever you want. And I just came up with guidance very spontaneously, which only means help, really, when you look it up in the dictionary. I should add that my belief system about what I'm channeling, we all have our own, guides and what's going on. For me, I have never tried to understand what it is. It's the wonder of it. It's
Yeah,
a they. I always feel like it is a chorus, not just like one entity.
I
Can't
agree.
explain, right? I
Yeah,
know. It's interesting how we pick that up. It sounds like you have two, this
yeah.
way of just sensing that it's not just one thing. Is that what you feel too?
Yeah, it's interesting for me because, and I just had this conversation with another AZ partner the other day because he was saying, you got to get specific. You got to know who you're talking to. And I went, yeah, that's not my truth. Because for me, sometimes I feel like it's important that I do tap in and get exactly where this is coming from, but almost always it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's your guide or your angel or Aunt Petunia who died 10 years ago. Most of the time, the message is the message. And so giving that has freed me up from trying to figure out what's this energy and what's this energy. I'm just collectively giving you what I'm getting. And if I need to tap in more, I could do that, but it's very rare.
Yeah, yeah, I totally can relate to that. I think that for me, that's exactly how I see it also, that it's really, I feel for me, if I pigeonhole it, how can I say this? If I pigeonhole it, will it go away or will I pigeonhole myself? I don't know. And I
Yeah.
like what you say. It's really just about offering the information. And I think too, I'm wondering if you have the same experience that the information that's coming through a lot of the time when I'm working with a client, yes, it's very individual. I'm sure you have that
Yep.
experience.
Yep.
But in general, I really feel like the information isn't new. When I
Mhm.
look at what other people channel, and you've channeled for me, which by the way, area is great.
Well, you
Um,
are great.
get a
Like, I
read,
love getting a reading from you.
yeah, get a reading from this woman. Um, you know, the truth is that it really is. I know I'm going to sound very, it's basic, but it is about love. The messages are about love. I think everybody's touting, and I really believe that is absolutely what comes through. And really, everything when I go back and I read the book that I wrote and the messages specifically that I got from guidance, I have noticed over and over that although they are different, right, different topics, the message is love.
Mm,
It's about self-awareness, it's about self-love. And again, my bias, and Ari, I don't know if you agree with this or not, but my bias is that if I can do better for myself, I can do better for other people and I can do better maybe for the world, right? I mean, I'm if I'm cursing at the nincompoop, right? This is what I say in my judgmental way. The person in front of me who in a car who is not signaling that they want to go right or left, and I'm like, oh, idiot, and I'm getting aggravated. When I'm aware that I'm doing that, I really have to stop right away. What am I putting into the world? What am I
yeah.
thinking about myself? Where's my compassion for this person? So I really believe it is about love. I mean, I
Yeah,
only have
sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say I only have control over my individuality. Really.
Absolutely.
I that's all I have and that's what I want to get better at and I am by no means I am still working on it.
Oh my
I,
gosh, me too. I'm laughing because I literally was late to this meeting to record with you because I was doing a reading and that just came up in the reading, right? Was this idea of it's not a matter of liking everyone, right? Because I think we're human and it's not my job to like everyone, but it is a matter of, can I find compassion for every human being that's out there? And when that person cuts me off, I don't know if they need to go to the bathroom really bad, right? Or I don't know if they are struggling with something, or their mom just died, or I have no idea. And so that has helped me immensely with being a little less aggressive towards people.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
compassion is going.
that's yeah, the compassion, yeah. That's interesting too, because I notice that I am a more compassionate person in general. In my daily life, I can be very impatient. And when I'm working with a client, right? When I'm working with a client, I sometimes can't believe my own compassion. I mean, I seriously, I it's just who I am. Maybe
Totally.
because maybe it's how I was raised. I'm Jewish from the Bronx. We just stick it to people. I have friends who say, Jill, right between the eyes. That's how you always talk to me. They love me for it. Not everyone, it's not everyone's cup of tea. But when I'm working with a client, that compassion comes through because, like I said, the energy that comes through is so loving
Yeah.
that it's almost like I can't do anything else but be that loving person. And I really wish I could be like that 24/7. I just am, you know, I'm going to get to the other side if there is one. And I'm aware, which I have no idea, you guys. I have no idea if this is true or not, but I'm going to hit my forehead and I'm going to go, see, you didn't get it again.
Hmm.
You
I
know,
don't know. I don't know, Jill. I think you're gonna get to the other side and they're gonna be like, all right, you picked it up this time. You picked it up. And I think it's so important, that compassion side of things. One of the things that I've been trying to embrace in my own life, and it sounds like you are as well, is this idea of not beating myself up, having as much compassion for myself as I have for other people. And I do love the fact that when I'm doing a reading, that loving energy, I know exactly what you're talking about, that comes through, but I also love that that loving energy can be very pointed. And I have had some readings from you, especially you read on Facebook once a week, correct? What day is that?
it's true. Mondays from 2 to 3 Pacific time, I offer an hour of free readings on Facebook. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, and it's so amazing, y'all. We'll put that in the notes so that everyone can find you. But one of the things that I've gotten, especially in your free ones when you're going quickly, is that the direct message is going to get to me. And it's not always going to be butterflies and rainbows, but it's always done in a very loving and compassionate way. And it's always what I need to hear. Sometimes we need that backhand from the universe. Um,
Thanks. Yeah, thank
or
you.
at least, like, getting hit with the pillow, right? Like, it's a big comfy pillow, but man, can it knock me on my butt. So, I love that.
Yeah,
Now
well, and I think that comes in, maybe you have this too. I think that comes from experience also. There's something about having experience as a reader.
mm,
I don't want to just dismiss that, and I think you and I have that. And so I can say, I think, I think I can say this. I think, which is why I admire you, because there's integrity there, and
well,
that's
and
so
I
important.
integrity is one of the things I wanna talk to you about, because, you've been in this world for a long time, right? And
Yeah.
doing this for quite a while. And so I'm sure you have seen no shortage of people along the way that haven't been living in integrity, within the spiritual world. And that's one of the things that we really set up from the beginning with Awkwardly Zen was, you don't get to be a part of Awkwardly Zen unless we have vetted you, unless and for a long time it was only me, unless I sit down with you and you do a reading for me and I feel like you are going to live in integrity, because integrity is everything to me. And if I can't live in integrity, if I can't make a statement in integrity, then I don't want to be making that statement. So, as you've gone on this journey and you have experienced so many different walks of life with this, what has been like the loudest message for you about keeping your integrity and keeping your own voice?
Yeah, that's a good question. I hadn't really thought about it in those terms, but I I'm going to say this. I may be sidestepping the question, but I almost feel like from the beginning I had that in some way. This
Fair.
sense that, I mean, really kind of interesting, and I'll have to think more about why or how that happened, but I really from the beginning felt like I had to be true to myself with this. So here's an example. when I was just reading tarot cards, verbatim, right? Reading for my sister and her friends and practicing. If a card came up that I still couldn't relate to myself or didn't know the meaning of, I bypassed it. There was something immediately I knew that it's unimportant. I'm not going to fake it. I'm not going to pretend. Um, I had day jobs for years. I was always in customer service. And I have to say, the other day, I'm going to tell you this story. The other day, I called, um, I called my health insurance company, right? And this guy gets on the phone and I ask him a question and I'm going to say it, he's lying about the answer. He doesn't know, but he's making it up. And I
Mhm.
knew he was making it up because I was on the website looking at what he was looking at. And I know people do that. If they feel like they can't say they don't know. They feel like they have to prove something, and I don't mean to say he lied. I don't know what, but
Right.
the opposite of just, say I don't know, I'll go get help, something. And the reason I'm mentioning this, because when I was doing customer service, that's why people hired me, because I could never just something in me. I could never just say, fake it.
Yeah.
Let's call it that, not lying, fake the answer. And
Yeah.
so from the very beginning with tarot, that's what I've always done. And I do also feel, and this is maybe another story, but for many years I didn't charge anything. And I had friends who were like, gosh, Jill, you need to charge. Okay, well, there's reciprocity. It's like, okay, I start to charge, right? That's fair. And very close friends who were having readings were like, oh my gosh, you need to charge more and blah, 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 and on this stuff. And every time I tried, it's just something in me felt off. And at
Mm,
first I thought it was because, and I'm not saying people shouldn't charge for readings. This is my
right.
personal story, but I really thought it was because maybe I had issues with money or all my crap, all my personal crap. Well, when I finally quit my day job and the universe, which was I was like 61, and the universe says, maybe you were supposed to be doing this your whole life. I immediately, of course, went to thought about my friends, and I thought, okay, I'll start, charging more money. And immediately, not from the universe, from me, it shut down. And I said, you know what? It's never who I've been. This has never been about the money. Now, I'm just saying, like, that's part of my, I'm not even going to call it integrity, but part of my truth. And I think that integrity and truth line up. When we go against our truth, and I think you know this, I think every reader knows this. So this isn't really about the money, or I'm not trying to tell people I'm so, because I charge, believe me. But the point is, when we go against our truth with a capital T, that's not integral, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what it is for me, just continuing to line up with what I believe, and everything seems to fall into place that way.
Yeah, I love that,
Does that
Jill.
make
And
sense?
yeah, absolutely. And what I love the most about it is that many times on this journey for me, I've had to put aside what everyone else is saying to stop and say, but what do you think? Right? Because same thing, I for a long time my readings paid for Awkwardly Zen. I had a 9 to 5, which wasn't really a 9 to 5, but I was working a muggle job, and all of that money went directly into Awkwardly Zen to pay for the community, and it was a beautiful thing. But when I quit doing that muggle job, I needed that money to come in to pay my own bills. And I have no problem with people making money with their gifts, right? To me, if I was a singer and I became famous, I would make a lot of money as a singer, right? If I'm a good lawyer, I'm making a lot of money as a lawyer. Well, I happen to be a psychic and I'm really good at it. And so I deserve to make money. But how much I have charged for that, I get the same thing from people all the time. Oh, you need to charge more. You should do this. You should do that. Everybody has an opinion, right? But
Mhm.
at the end of the day, I'm the one who has to live with what I am asking for.
Right.
And so while there are times that I have to step out of my comfort zone to raise prices or to adjust something, knowing that it might hurt someone's feeling or might leave someone out, one of the pieces of advice I got very early on from actually a former Awkwardly Zen partner, someone who didn't end up working out. But one of the things they said was, I charge what I charge so that I can give it away for free when I want to.
Mhm. Yeah,
And there was a beauty in that for
yeah,
me. So I think that's the biggest thing I take away is it doesn't matter what I charge. You shouldn't base what you charge off of what I charge. You should base what you charge off of what feels right to you.
right,
And also every once in a while nudge yourself to go, should I push myself a little further, right? Because
right, right.
us healers, we want to give it all.
It's all service, right? I know. And, but there is this sweet spot between resentment
Mm,
and what feels fair. And that's kind of always been my sweet spot.
yeah.
If I charge this, will I resent it? So there's a way that I check in with myself, but I think what we're both saying is that it is really less about like the dollars. We're not, I mean, there is a difference between doing what we're doing for money.
Yes.
There is a difference there. And I will tell you that I made some friends. The last metaphysical fair I did, I made some friends with these two incredible women. That doesn't always happen, who sat at my table. They weren't vendors, they sat at my table. And they live in Eugene, and now we're friends. And I saw them last week, and they said to me that they ended up sitting at my table because, and one of them is actually a psychic. She is an amazing channeler. She's amazing, and they're sisters. And they said to me that when they went into that room, they felt like there were a lot of vendors there, readers. They felt this competitive,
Mm,
they felt this competitive sense. And I'm not saying this to put people down, but this is what they said. And it goes back to again to what's going on for me. I just don't have that
yeah.
feeling. Now,
Yeah. Me
you
neither.
asked why or what. I mean, I don't know. But it was the same thing when I opened my drum school. I was a professional drummer for years, and a professional percussionist. And when I opened my drum school, I got calls from men who were pissed off, like, you're taking clients and you're taking. And my response then too, this is just who I am. My response was, you know what? People will still find you. People who want me will find me.
Yep.
I didn't open up to compete with you. I'm happy to even
Yeah.
refer people. I don't know, maybe that's just who I am. Is it because I'm
Well,
a woman? Is it because I don't know what the hell, but
I don't know. I don't think it's just because you're a woman, but I
I'm
do think
good
that
with it.
has to do with it, right? Like I'm right there with you. One of the things I say before we have an awkwardly Zen in-person fair, and you'll hear this because you're coming to our 11/11 fair here in Denver on November 9th. But one of the things I always say is, especially for those new practitioners who are coming in, this is not a competition. That we are all in this together. And so if someone walks up to you and you are not the fit for them, I want you to help them find the reader that they need to find, because this isn't about all of us making money. We will all make money. I have faith in that. But this is about helping people get in front of the people they need to get in front of. And if we can do that, and it's one of the things that we get a lot with feedback of our fair is that there's such a lovely energy because we are all a team. And it is something that I will absolutely be very firm on no matter how big we get, because if we can be a team, if we can take care of one another, then the community follows, right? The people we're
Love
reading for follows, and there's enough for everybody. Like there's so much abundance in the world if we just allow it.
Totally. And I love that you set the tone.
Yeah.
And that's what Awkwardly Zen is. This is why I even agreed to be a program partner. It was an honor to be asked, but I also vet. And believe me, I've been in this genre, long enough to
Yeah.
see what goes on. And even when I had the drum school, there were some men who wanted to, men, of course, I was one of the few women doing this in Eugene, Oregon. And they
Right.
were wanted to teach at my drum school. And I was like, no, because their egos were too big. I didn't like what they were putting out. I did finally was able to bring people in who were great. So,
Yeah.
who had this idea, but I love that you set that tone, because that is, I mean, that's what I love about Awkwardly Zen. And that's what I tell people too, when they ask me about it. I have it when I send out my email newsletter every Monday to people on my e-list. I have Awkwardly Zen in there. And what I've said over and over is how integral it is. And that word, maybe, it's so important. And I know
Yeah.
we kind of maybe talked it to death, but that's really, you are
In today's day and age,
I think you are unusual in that way. I'm telling you, because
yeah,
your organization is unusual, I think. I don't want to, I mean, I love being at other metaphysical fairs. Some of the
yeah,
people who do them are so great. They have integrity, otherwise I wouldn't do it, but they don't necessarily set that tone. And
right. Well,
really,
and I think
yeah.
that's just it, right? Is that there are a lot of like Denver's a perfect example. There are so many amazing spiritual communities and groups and organizations in Denver. I would love to see all of them start working a little bit more together, because I think that we are all in this together, and so the division that has been created, and it was from necessity. I'm very aware of that. I always am astounded with how much history there is in the metaphysical world, right? And I am very aware of how good I have it because I can be online talking about it with very little risk that someone's going to come burn down my house, right? And that is not the way it has always been. Lori Hewitt, who's one of our partners, who you'll get to meet in person. Lori Hewitt talks about how she used to go to the occult section in the bookstore and look over her shoulder to make sure nobody
Oh,
was seeing her,
I
right? And so I have so much respect for those of you who came before me and before Awkwardly Zen, because Awkwardly Zen couldn't be what it is without all of the work you all did to step into your own stories. But to me, this is just the beginning. Like, we have all of this beautiful opportunity to connect now through the internet that we didn't have before. Speaking of which, I don't even remember. I was trying to think, how did you find Awkwardly Zen?
Well, speaking of metaphysical fairs, it was Lorelei Shimayo. I hope I'm
Right.
pronouncing that correct. She does these beautiful, she's such a heart. I really love her.
Yes.
And she produces these metaphysical fairs all through the Pacific Northwest. And when I was writing the book, yes, I will show it again.
Yay.
You can pre-order now, by the way, everybody. Barnes
Yeah,
and
we will
Noble,
absolutely have how they can order it in the right.
on bookshop. I'm just saying. But when I was writing this book, part of when you're going to get something published, you have to get into the marketing. Who's going to read it? And I called her, and she was so gracious to answer my questions. What is she seeing at metaphysical fairs? What's changed? And she told me, and we had this lovely conversation. And then she said, Jill, I think you need to meet
That's right.
you. And that's what happened. And she connected us. And I guess we got along. I like you. So
Well, here we are.
here
Yeah.
we are.
And one of the things that you said that I really love is, I mean, you were vetting me as much as I was vetting you. And I think that that's important for metaphysical practitioners to realize is just because an opportunity presents itself does not mean you need to take it. And so I'm the same way. Like, if I don't know a fair, I will find somebody who has been a part of that fair or experienced it to interact with them, to talk about it, or to really have a chance to interact with the person who's setting it up, because not everything is created equal, right? And like Lorelai is a perfect example. Her heart is so huge and she works so hard and diligently to do amazing events. And so it's very easy to trust her when she says, hey, you need to meet this person and do all of that. But her and I went back and forth many times. She actually helped us get our trademark. So thank you, Lorelai. But there's so many things that I've learned over the years from people, and she has been hugely helpful because she was setting all these things up long before I was. So to be able to tap into that and ask questions, I think that's why community is so important.
And she is generous,
Yeah. With her
right? That's
time and
important.
her knowledge and everything. It's really beautiful.
So
She is
generous.
a
She's
great
really good.
example of that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely. Okay. Well, we are wrapping up on time, but I want you to put your book up on that screen one more time.
Do that.
All right. And it's Guidance from the Universe. And where can they pre-order it? Let's say it out loud and then we'll put it in the write-up.
Thank you. It's on pre-order now, anywhere really where books are sold, because it's being
Yay.
distributed by Simon and Schuster. So online, you'll find it at Amazon, Barnes and Noble right now, bookshop.org. But you can also go into your independent local bookstore, ask them to pre-order it for you, tell them that it's being distributed by Simon and Schuster. Everybody knows that who they are. It'll be easily found. It's under 20 bucks, and I would love to hear from people. Should you read it, let me know what you think. And I definitely have to say that it was a quite an undertaking. To write any book is an undertaking, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Well, I'm so proud of you for getting it done. And I think back to that first conversation talking about this book that was so far in the future, and here we are. So excited that we have a chance with Awkwardly Zen to help talk about it. We were just talking about having an event at some point after the first of the year so that you can maybe do some readings from it and talk about it and answer some questions. So everyone watch for that on awkwardlyzen.com. And you know what, Jill? I'm just so grateful for your presence in our community. I am super excited that you're going to be here for the 1111 Metaphysical Fair on November 9th. That's coming up here in 2024. So thank you so much for being here with me today. And I will see you in a month.
Yeah, I'm very excited to meet you in person and excited to be in the Denver community. Thanks for having me at that event, and thanks for having me here too and letting me ramble on today about what I've been up to. I appreciate it.
It was
Thank you.
absolutely beautiful. Thanks, Jill.